Project 2010 was born, the idea came in the late 90s with our missionary John Glass, who is ministering in the city of Geneva, where he was born. That's a whole interesting story. Always wanted to preach where Calvin preached, and that's Geneva. And his church has quite a missionary vision for reaching that part of the French cities right across the border from Geneva. As he saw the potential of reaching that part of France, he came up with the idea, or at least encouraged the team France to think of a whole new project which came to be known as Project 2010. By that they mean starting 10 new churches in 10 key cities in the Rhone-Alps region by the year 2010. The first church that was started was in the city of Annecy, which is halfway between here and Geneva. A number of families living in the city of Annecy, which is a major pole of activity in that section of France, were going all the way towards Geneva for a worship service. We put 3 of our couples there, the Niles, the Websters, and the Andersons, to form a church planting team to start the Annecy Church, which now is really going well. They have well over 100 people attending at their services. They've just acquired a new facility, which they're renovating. It's very well located in town, and that church is going very well. While this was going on, we learned that the church in Albertville, under French leadership, had the vision of starting 3 daughter churches in the surrounding areas. Karen and I were invited to come and become a part of that ministry in '99, which we did. I think it's exceptional. We're working with a church, the Albertville Church, that has the desire to start 3 daughter churches. This is the first time that we've been involved in a French church that has taken on the vision to start daughter churches. Too often it's the missionary coming and trying to get the church on board with this vision of needing to start daughter works, with all that goes with it, the finances and the dedication and the sacrifices involved. And yet at the Albertville Church, the vision is there. It's their vision. We're there just to help them. And that's a whole different ministry assignment. It's really been fun to be a part of that, because we do not have to instill the vision. We're there to help them fulfill the vision. And it's my prayer that the Albertville Church can become an example to churches throughout France. And now we're seeing those 3 churches actually come into being. Bourg Saint-Maurice is an established church, small, but it's at least started, so that's church number 2.
My passion is basically to meet people in the street, meet people where they are, go to where they are. I like going to cafes, I like going to the hospital, going to the retirement homes. I like going to where people are and trying to strike up a conversation with them on spiritual things. And it's not always easy, but I find that sometimes people are willing to speak about spiritual things. But that's probably the one thing that I do without having to think about it.
I really want people to know that Christ makes a difference in your life, in your 9-to-5 daily life, and here in France. And I think some of that comes out when I need to live my own life before my neighbors. And I've been greatly encouraged by other colleagues here on the mission field to really seek that.
The work at Grésy, which is merged in with Bourgneuf, is now work number 3. Starting very soon, a work in Faverges-du-Sard with a 3rd branch work, which will soon be one of the 10 churches.
I take care of the youth group at Albertville Church, because here it's not Albertville, it's Faverges and Dussart, and the vision our church has is to plant churches. And here we want to start a daughter church soon, because we meet here every Wednesday to have a study, a Bible study, and our group start to become bigger and bigger, and sometimes it's hard to fit in one room. So the vision is to plant a daughter church here, because between Annecy and Albertville there's no churches, and here it's the middle between Albertville and Annecy. And as a disciple of Christ, we want to do what God asks, like to make church. The people here, we can see a need, and we really have to know Jesus. And also, there is a big Muslim community in this area. They need to be reached also.
The church in Geneva had already started a daughter church in the town of Annemasse, which is right at the French-Swiss border, had started a granddaughter church in the city of Bonneville. The Harrops and the Rolsons have been involved in starting that church. They're now having monthly worship services. I've just received a letter the other week that they want to go to full worship services every week beginning in September, so that'll be work number 5. We're halfway to our goal. As far as the 5 works that have either started or are actually starting, right now we have the personnel that we need for that. Those projects are underway and they're happening. But there are still, we said we wanted 10 churches by the year 2010. 5 does not make it. We already know the other 5 cities that we want to start in, but we can't do it yet because we don't have the personnel. If somebody came to France or came up to me today as the ministry area leader and said, Paul, I want to start a church, be a part of Project 2010, where would I go? I would pull out a map and say, well, you could go to Aix-les-Bains, you could go to Bellegarde, you could go to Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne.
Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne is the major city, and there are 15,000 people in Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne. So the whole valley must be around, I'd say, 30 or 40,000 people from Bourgneuf to the end of the Maurienne Valley. It's already a first nucleus to start a home church in the valley, and that is already a big victory for us.
Yes.
Then afterwards, the fact that we can have a church here would be very important to enlighten the valley directly, and bringing people to connect more directly and not to have to drive an hour one way and an hour the other way.
Yes.
It's for the people not being interested in knowing whether or not God exists and what impact it gives on their life. 2 hours of drive is already prohibitive.
Yes.
So it's a need to be close from their home, from their life, and from their connections.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the list would go on. Now they might not know where those cities are, but we do, and we already have an open door. We would do it today if we had the people to go there. It takes time. You have to come for the long haul. This is not a country where we're going to come in with a team for 1 week and evangelize. We can get some work done in a week, yes, but it's the long haul.
So I think that's why it's so important to be living here, long-term basis.
Yeah.
I think eventually that's what's going to touch their hearts. When we were told I had cancer and that we would have to go back to the States for treatment, you know, I had a lot of friends in that area with the women, and we had a group, and things were going real well as far as relationships were concerned, and they all knew what I believed. It's quite, I had told them. And it wasn't until I left, though, under those circumstances, that they started expressing how they felt towards us, and how they were going to start really more seriously thinking about God.
And yet, God is planting His church in France. We are witnesses of that. We have seen it happen. We're seeing it happening. And the French believers are beginning to catch the vision that, yes, we can reach our own people. And that's exciting.